Hello and welcome to Quant Matters, where we talk about the quantitative approach to investing and finance. Today we're going to look at backtesting, which is one of the most useful skills you can have as a quant. In simple terms, backtesting means evaluating a trading or investment strategy using historical data to estimate how the strategy might have performed in the past. In this episode, we'll look at how backtesting works, how to run a simple backtest, and some of the common pitfalls you should be aware of when interpreting the results. Before we start, I want to mention that the channel now has a Patreon page. There you can download that finished code for the historical pricing dashboard we built in a past episode, along with an expanding PDF that collects the material covered on the channel. It's designed as a reference, especially if you prefer reading or want something to revisit later. Before you set out to do your own backtest, you need to understand that predicting the future based on the past is not a sure thing, and can sometimes be a fool's errand. A strategy that worked in the past might not work in the future. The situations, environments, and reactions that existed before may be completely different next time around. So if that's the case, why even backtest? Before answering, let's consider three distinct possibilities. The past won't repeat itself exactly, the past will repeat itself exactly, or third, the past will repeat itself somewhere in the middle. As quants, we want to design successful investment strategies, so whether the past contains valuable information for the future or not, we want to know. And ideally, we want to know by how much. So to answer the question, we backtest to try to find valuable information in the past that may help us in the future, while keeping in mind that we may need to adjust how much confidence we place in that information. In general, the ingredients of a backtest are fairly simple. First, you need a strategy that you want to test. This can be something relatively simple like buying, holding, or selling when certain conditions are met, or something more complex such as models, factors, or multi-asset strategies. Second, you need a way to simulate that strategy in the past. The complexity of this step is usually related to the complexity of the strategy itself. Once you run that simulation, you're ideally left with some metric describing how the strategy performed, along with a detailed record of that individual trades. This record is important because it allows you to inspect the behavior of the strategy and debug potential issues. So in its simplest form, a backtest is just a strategy applied to historical data and evaluated using performance metrics. In general, you want to replicate how that strategy would actually behave in the real world. There are a couple of early gotchas to be aware of. First, are you using the right price? Using the open or close, for instance, instead of something like a daily average might substantially impact your backtest. Likewise, execution costs such as commissions or interest rates may need to be included accurately. And finally, accidentally including data that would not have been available when a decision was made can make a strategy look much better than it really is. For this demonstration, we'll use daily price data for single assets during 2025. We'll start with an initial amount of capital and simulate how that capital evolves over time as we apply different investment rules. The first strategy is buy and hold. We invest the capital at the beginning of the period and simply hold the asset until the end. The second strategy is a very simple momentum rule. Each day we look at the asset's return from the previous day. If the return was positive, we buy or continue holding the asset. If the return was negative, we move the capital back to cash. Starting from the same initial capital, we apply these rules day by day and track how the value of the portfolio changes over time. This produces a series of simulated returns, which we can then analyze and compare. Again, the goal here is not to discover a profitable strategy, but simply to illustrate how a backtest works. We will update the existing Google spreadsheet we've been using since it already contains historical prices, and use SPY as our target asset. The first strategy we will test is called daily momentum. The rules are simple. If the asset had a positive return the previous day, we buy and hold it for the next day. If the previous day's return was negative, we stay in cash. To compute the backtest, we first create a return column, which calculates the daily percentage change in price. We then use this column to generate a signal, depending on the return. Sell or remain in cash if it was negative or neutral, and buy or hold if it was positive. As mentioned previously, one of the easiest ways to fool yourself in a backtest is to include data that was not available at the time the decision was made. In this case, the signal must reflect the previous day's return, not the current one. A final column tracks the strategy's portfolio value, which starts with an initial capital and is updated day by day depending on whether the strategy is invested in the asset or staying in cash. We can then compare the final portfolio value with the initial capital to calculate the strategy's total return, which in this case turned out to be negative. The second strategy is buy and hold, which is probably the simplest possible investment strategy. In this case, we invest our starting capital in the asset on the first day of the dataset and simply hold the position for the entire period, allowing the portfolio value to change each day with the asset's return. Finally, we test a daily mean reversal strategy, which is essentially the opposite of the momentum rule. If the asset had a positive return the previous day, we stay in cash, and if the previous day's return was negative, we buy and hold the asset for the next day. The results can be summarized visually using a plot called an equity curve, which shows how the value of each strategy evolves through time. As we can see, even with the exact same data, small differences in trading rules can lead to very different outcomes. In this example, we used SPY to keep the spreadsheet simple, but the same process can be applied to the other assets in the dataset. As an exercise, you can repeat this backtest for them and compare the results. Your strategy's total return is perhaps the most important metric, but it's only the beginning. We haven't covered all the quantitative metrics yet, but even with what we've already discussed, you could compute things like drawdowns, volatility, Sharpe ratios, or alpha to gain more insights into a strategy's performance. Likewise, while a spreadsheet can be perfectly adequate for simple strategies and small datasets, and it's often a good place to start, it eventually becomes limiting. As strategies grow in complexity or the number of assets increases, it's common to move towards specialized software libraries or custom code to run and analyze backtests. I hope that by now you know enough about backtests to adapt them to your own strategies, or at least feel less intimidated when you encounter them in the wild. Besides being essential tools for quantitative investing, backtests also open the door to prediction. If we understand how the strategy behaved in the past, we can begin to form expectations about how it might behave in the future. Of course, making reliable forecasts requires additional techniques and careful validation, but conceptually you are not very far from the next step. Thanks for watching, and if you want more quantitative content, please consider liking and subscribing to Quant Matters.